Okay, in this tutorial I want to show you a new tool. It's a toolbox, so that means that you can create new parts based on templates. The idea of this toolbox is that it is mainly used for creating gears or creating pulleys or some different types of parts that work in real life, like in the industry or something like that. So for that I'm just creating a new part, just like you saw. And what we have to do is here in these tabs, you're going to find different tools that we haven't used. Here under Solidworks add-ins, if you don't have this tab in your computer, you simply have to right click on one of the tabs, it doesn't matter which one, and make sure that the Solidworks add-ins has a tick on it. If it has a tick, you're gonna see this tab. So here under this you can see that Solidworks has a lot of different applications, and all those applications work for different things, but the ones that you need is mainly this one that says Solidworks Toolbox. When you click on Solidworks Toolbox, it's gonna prompt you a new window on the right, and there you will find different types of tools if it loads. So after it loads the toolbox, the menu is going to change, and here under design library, in this symbol, this library, you can click here on toolbox, and you're gonna find different files, different types of files. Every single file is a different reference to create tools. The ones that you can use is either ISO, or ANSI metric. The reason why is because they use millimeters to work, so it will be easier for you to measure. Both work exactly the same way, and because of that I'm gonna take ANSI metric. Under ANSI metric, you're going to find all the different types of tools that you can create by using the toolbox. So you have bearings, bolts and screws, nuts, rings. I'm gonna create this video so you can find everything about power transmission. Under power transmission, you're gonna find gears, and once you click on it, here at the bottom you're gonna find all the different types of gears that you can create. For the systems that you have to understand, the only thing that you need would be either a sport gear or a rack, which is a sport gear but it's linear. The type of motion that it will make is linear. So how does it work? When you click on it, when you right click on it, here it says create part, so you click on create part, and by default Solidworks is going to create a sport gear, but it doesn't have any specification, let's say. So once you click on here, it will tell you to configure the component. So here you have all the properties that you need in order to configure the component. Based on the module and the number, well, the size depends on the module and the number of teeth. So I'm gonna say the module is the relationship between the number of teeth and the diameter of this thing. So based on that, you can only make the parts match when the module is the same. So if you select 10, for example, you see how it changes because the relationship changed. How can you know about measures if you cannot measure? Simple. Here under module, you select the module that you want in order to make it match, and the number of teeth the same. So for this example, I'm gonna select 10 teeth. As you see, it is a lot smaller. So I have 10 teeth and my module is all, sorry, I have 13 teeth, so I have 10, I'm gonna move to 10. So 10 teeth and my module is also 10. How do you know about the size of it? Face width tells you this. What is the measure of this? So if you see here, it says 10. 10 means that is 10 millimeters, so that means it is 1 centimeter. So if you imagine this part in real life, this is 1 centimeter. So there you can make yourself have an idea of how big is going to be your component. If, for example, you change this by 30, it will be 3 centimeters. So if you have this, you can make yourself an idea on how big is going to be that in real life. What else can you modify? Here where it says hub style, it's a hub that you can put in one side, for example, and you're gonna see this, or you can put it on both sides. So now the hub is on both sides. The hub is basically so you can attach the gear somewhere else. The hub diameter is also in millimeters because we selected asymmetric. So in millimeters, my diameter will be, I don't know, something like 30, something smaller. And this way you can create the gear that you want. Nominal shaft diameter, that's the hole in the middle. So instead of 10 millimeters, I'm gonna say, for example, 20 millimeters. So it will be bigger. And in show teeth, you can change the amount of teeth of the gear that is being shown. So for example, if I don't want 10 but 5, by default it's gonna do this, and it will leave only half of the component. But the most of the times we're gonna use the full amount of teeth. And this is the file name. In the file name, you're gonna find all the specifications that you just created. So 10M because the module was 10, 10T because it has 10 teeth, 20 PA, which is the pressure angle. By default, the pressure angle is most of the times is 20. It is related to the amount of force that it can transmit. By default, leave it in 20. 30, and this is the name of the part. How can you do this? When you have the part that you want, remember that the module is 10 and the number of teeth is 10. When you have what you want, I'm gonna leave it here in 20. When you have what you want, you're gonna click on the tick, and by default, after it loads, it will attach another part to this. Okay, so when you minimize, here it is. So now, what can you do? You have the part. The only thing you're missing is to click on Save As. And here I'm gonna save it on the desktop and with that name, with that long name. So when I click on Save, I have a complete new part in the desktop, and it is here. It is a new part, so that means that I can do whatever I want with it. I can create an assembly or something like that. In the case of the rack, you simply click on here on the library, on the design library. Again, you go to asymmetric gears, but instead of creating a spur gear, I'm gonna create a rack spur. So I right click on it, create a part, and by default, you're gonna have this. Again, replace component. So it's gonna tell you what are the properties of this. If you remember, the module of my gear was 10, so I'm gonna leave it here in 10. My pressure angle was the same, 20. Phase width, it's just the same that on the other side. If you remember, the other one was 20. I modified at the end. Pitch height, remember this is in millimeters. So pitch height is how high is this thing. I'm gonna leave it in 5 is too short, so I'm gonna say 20. So it can have like a base. In length, it's also in millimeters. So instead of 100 millimeters are 10 centimeters. So I'm gonna say, I don't know, 200. So 20 centimeters. So it is the double. What's the idea? You need to understand this and analyze it before you go and print. So I'm gonna say 400. Now, I have this, and this is my rack. Supposedly here on top, I'm gonna use the gear that I just created, and in the assembly, I'm gonna make it rotate. Show teeth all, it works exactly the same. If instead of showing all the teeth, I just want to show 3 teeth, this is gonna happen. That's what you can control. Sorry. So all here in comment you put nothing, and under file name it works exactly the same. So the module is 10, it has 20 in the pressure angle, and like that, like that, like that. So things that you need to keep in mind for a gear and a rack to match. The module has to be the same. If the module is not the same, it will never work. And for you to have a guide on how big is your part, if you want to print it, take a look to this. All this is in millimeters. So by looking at this, it says that here supposedly I have 20, which is 20 is 2 millimeters. So if I zoom out and I rotate it, I can have an idea in my mind of how big it's going to be that at the end, in case that you need to print it. Same way, I'm gonna click on the tick, so I will finish my part. And once the part is finished, I'm gonna minimize here, maximize this one, and save it. So I'm gonna save as the same. I'm gonna save it in the desktop. So using these two parts, then I'm gonna show you how to create the assembly for gears and racks. But that's pretty much it with the toolbox. Using the toolbox, you can create whatever part that you want based on measures. And by default, the toolbox is gonna show you everything you need to know to create the part before you go and print.